The level of censorship in this country is extraordinary, and the problem is that you don't know what you don't know. So I would suggest that most Canadians have no idea of the level of censorship that we're under. My name is Ted Kuntz, and I'm here in my capacity as chair of the National Citizens Inquiry. We're a group of people that decided back in 2022 that we needed a citizen-led, citizen-funded inquiry into the government's response to COVID. And we have continued since then. We held hearings in 8 cities across Canada, 3 days in each city. And more recently, we've held hearings in 4 cities across Canada looking at the question, are children safe in Canada? The response of the public has been beautiful. They've embraced the idea of a citizen-led, citizen-funded inquiry into the government's actions because they don't have confidence in the government conducting their own inquiry and holding themselves to account. I also think that they really like the fact that it emboldens and empowers citizens to hold our governments to account in a way that we haven't in the past. The government's response, I think the word is crickets or silence. That's probably my greatest disappointment, in spite of the fact that the NCI has created the largest body of evidence given under oath in the world looking at a government's response to COVID. Not one parliamentarian in either the federal or provincial legislatures has stood up and said, fellow ministers, are you aware of the National Citizens Inquiry, and have you looked at the reports that have been issued? But it's coming. They know that we exist. They know the reports are there, and I think it's weighing heavily on them. The reason I think there's silence from our politicians is they're not there to serve the people. They're there to serve the party, and they're there to serve their masters. And so what we've come to recognize over the last 5 years is that our governments are not working for the people. But it's not just our governments. Our medical system is not working for the people. Our media is not working for the people. Our regulatory agencies are not working for the people. And to me, that's why we need a Reclaiming Canada conference. The Canada that we thought we had doesn't exist. And I think Bruce Pardy expressed this the clearest. He said there's 2 Canadas. The one that's in our hearts, the ones that we grew up with as kids, are the ones that we imagine Canada being, and then there's the reality. And the last 5 years has exposed that reality. And so we're dealing with institutions who are not acting in the best interest of the citizens, and that has to change. I think the reason a conference like Reclaiming Canada is important for a couple of reasons. One is there's information that's being withheld from the public. The level of censorship in this country is extraordinary, and the problem is that you don't know what you don't know. So I would suggest that most Canadians have no idea of the level of censorship that we're under. The second reason to come together like this is to realize that we're not alone. And it's like what happened during the truckers' convoy. Most people probably thought they were alone. And when they saw those trucks rolling across the country, when they saw Canadians standing on those overpasses, it gave them hope. It made them realize that they weren't alone in their suffering, in their despair, in their concern for this country. And a conference like this is, it's a beautiful time to come together and really hear from people. And there's a difference between getting to know people virtually and getting to know people face to face. And I would say that's the third reason that I really enjoy these conferences is so many of the relationships that I've developed over the last 5 years have been virtual relationships. And then to finally meet people for the first time that you know and you know well, but there's a different knowing when you get to shake their hand, you get to look them in the eye, and you get to embrace them for the work that they're doing. So there's an energy here, there's a spirit here that I really enjoy. Probably what's unique to those that have stood up to the tyranny over the last 5 years is these are people of courage, that in spite of the adversity, in spite of the fear, in spite of the punishments, they still stood up and they spoke truth to power. And to be around that kind of courage is contagious. And so it actually inspires me to do more. And I think the other reason why these kinds of conferences are important is you're hearing what one person did, the difference that they made in their community. You know, one person is a Charles Hoff, one person is a Mark Trozy. We heard from the Give, Send, Go people today. You know, they started that 10 years ago. Two people just starting something, not knowing the transformation that would have. And so I think what we come to realize is that when we stand in our authority, when we really tap into what's important to us, and we speak passionately and courageously about that, amazing things have happened, and I think we have more power than we know. I'm excited. I think that we're at a turning point in this country. I know that when you look at the headlines or the social media posts, there's a lot of things to be concerned about, but I'm seeing a shift happening. I'm feeling a shift happening. More people are recognizing something is wrong, and they're asking questions they didn't ask even 6 months ago. And so that's the beginning of change. And I also believe that people are good people. I believe we've all been lied to. And so there's a humility that happens when you can say, you know what, I believed something a year ago or 5 years ago that I now know wasn't true. And then you step into your truth. You've got something to contribute to the well-being of humanity. Step up, speak up, and make a difference.